Alright, what have we got here, guys? What I have made, as you can see in that sneak peek, was an amp AB blind test rig. And I've actually worked out that I can send an infrared signal to switch between amp A and amp B. So I've got a simple infrared module in the back that I can just go amp B, amp A, or just A to B, whatever it's on. So if I could just think about something else and just press it a few times without counting. Now I don't know which amp I'm on, and I can just choose some music, and I'll just solo it down to the single speaker group. So that happens to be the high mid 2.5 inch cone speaker with neodymium magnets. And when you're listening to it by itself, it's probably not such a easy thing to hear. And I'm switching amps. Just taking note of the textures, the depth, and the amount of crack. And then pressing it again. Taking note of the smoothness this time. A bit more pinpoint stage. And just, thinking about the differences there. It's almost like this has a noise gate, that amp. It's like, and this one's like, there's sorts of things that I hear, and once I've worked out that there's 2 or 3 good differences that I can pinpoint in my brain, let's pause that, I will go and check out which amp it was. If I had a remote camera in the back, that would be easy, but what I'm doing is I'm just pressing play, and then I'm muting each amp down here. So I'm currently on the amp that I think is good, turning it off, and yes, that's the amp that I think is good. So I can actually just hear it so far 100% of the time, and that is the newer amps that I was questioning the other day, the Topping B100s. Much more accurate staging, depth, realism, and things like that. I did actually adjust the gain regime sensitivity on it. So the last thing I'll be checking is, can I get that snap back? I had the amps on medium sensitive input, and I had the DAC on high gain output. So now I've gone back a level on the DAC to just sensible level. Instead of 24 dBu, it's like 19 dBu or something. And then I've actually ramped up the amp sensitivity to make them closer to the fuzzy V3 monos with the sparkle. So that was the competition, and I level matched everything with a microphone in the cabin using REW, and just getting them within a 0.1 or 2 of a dB. And as you can see, sometimes they're under, sometimes they're over. So as long as it was evenly under and over, and this is like 4 passes on each, and I did left channel separately to right channel, make sure the balance was the same and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I'd have to test this rigorously to see if the amps both had the exact same frequency response. So if you just took this literally, you'd almost say that, the frequency response doesn't match, but this is like within an acoustic environment. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. So far, yeah. Topping, definitely better soundstage, realism, depth. It's just we're going to do some smack testing now, and maybe that smack was like an artificial distortion that isn't meant to be there, but we'll do a bit more investigation. I have this other thing that I think my hearing is a bit like my eyes, where if you're looking driving along and the sun gets in your eyes and you want to squint, and then you'd prefer to be driving without the sun in your eyes and you don't have to squint. I think some amps or some digital sources, they have a glare, which is a very similar word to use, but it's for your ears. And I don't know, the inside of my ears tend to sympathetically get annoyed by certain textures in an amplifier or a digital chain, so that your ears want to counteract the thing. And when I'm swapping amps between good and bad, and I'll reiterate, it's a blind test, I don't know which it is. The bad one, my ears want to sort of squint, which is a silly word to use. And the good one, my ears just stay open and more of what's happening in the signal. And it's things that I was hearing in this lady's voice with this guitar.
And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch.
So it's more in just the fundamental of singing our swap amps and go back.
And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch.
I got to hear, the 98% of every part of, the melody moving up and down and the guitar interacting. But in the other amp, you're still hearing the same performance at the same levels, but it's just maybe there's like a finer edge and the guitar maybe sounds like it's a bit hotter. And yet when the vocal starts piercing, or not piercing, but getting to those little points, then your ears like playing, like dampening on that, and it's distracting you from the whole 10-second passage or whatever it was. So that's another thing that I noticed, and I did check it with the verification, and it was still the topping B100 which had the smoother sound. So that's about 3 for 3 at the moment. Just going to round off this test phase by acknowledging that I'm only using the 5 amp power supplies on those fuzzies. So I have noticed improvements with the 10 amp version power bricks to those fuzzies. So I'm going to take this first test group with that in mind, and I'll probably do a switch over to the 10 amps and do the second phase from there. Yeah, and I'll also be testing the factory op amps of the fuzzies versus fuzzies with Sparkos, keeping these B100s. So that's the thing. I have an endless amount of tests ahead of me, but if it's going to keep leaning towards one amp or the other, I'm pretty sure maybe I'll stop the test there. But yeah, I'm also looking into buying or using some other amps to round out this test series with the blind A/B test system. I mean, just to top and tail this video, this is what the switching device is that I got. It's the Fuzzy Audio LC30, and it comes with a remote that you can switch between amps. See that little light on the right there? And that clicking sound I can't hear from the front. You can swap 2 sets of speakers, but I only need 1 set for this test. And because this is infrared, I have an infrared sending device, and I've been using the phone app to switch. And yeah, so we've been listening to the Fuzzy B100s topping B100s versus the V3 monos going into there. That's the wild and crazy setup we've got going on here at the moment.